Good to see you again. Hey, this is John with SoulPedal, obviously, and I've been quiet for about a year because I've been working on some things, to get it right. Had some family things that come up that were exciting, some new family that's really cool. Anyway, I've been working on a lot of software changes, and the reason I did this is basically I wanted to bring back the haptics because I felt like I needed to feel actually what's going on with my pedal rather than just have to rely on looking at the LED. So that's cool. That's the first bit of news. The second bit is that some people don't like to use the switches, but this is just like always a reliable way to do it. So this pad now, when you're playing live, you can set up which ones you want to cycle through, and you can tell by color, okay, if I kick now, I'm going to trigger my boost. Boom. Boost and volume, actually. So I've got my expression pedal hooked up as well. And in fact, while I'm here, if I set a minimum right here, then it's a boost on a boost, right? So I got it's regular here and then. All right, so that's the second thing. You can select easily so you don't have to use any switches. And the third thing is frickin' awesome, okay? So the whole switching thing, once again, I wanted to use some looping, right? And I'm standing on my switches, but I want to shift my feet. Duh. So I came up with standby mode. So if you know you're going to be standing here, and basically it'll flash like that when I pull my foot back. So I've got like an invisible barrier it's only about 10 centimeters around my foot, that if I cross that, I go into active mode, right? So the switch is active there, but it is not there. So now I can move around, I can relax, play, and if I need a switch, I just step forward. They're all right there, okay? I can turn on the delay, but then just step back, and it doesn't have to be the same distance. You can step back a lot more or a lot. You can take a big step forward. You can bam, like get in their face, and like you're done. Okay. I forgot to tell you once you're in that mode, you're in standby now. It's flashing like that. And then you raise your heel as a way to disengage it. And then you can come over here, hey, I want to get in front of the crowd here. You set up, you're ready. I can feel it vibrate my foot. I know it's ready. Those are the three things, right? So ease of use by not having to get into the switching if you don't want to. You can add that later and just add one switch from there and then 3 and then 5 if you want. You can figure it to do whatever you want, the expression, the wah, the volume, or the MIDI as a controller, or a switch, or custom. So, so it's got a lot of versatility on the MIDI end. I'm going to have to give you some demos of that in some other videos, but basically, and then the third thing is did I say the haptics? Haptics, standby, and then trigger selection. I'm just making it up. I don't know. It's whatever it's called.
Okay, let me cover a quick review of the changes and stuff with the app. Basically, the colors, all that gold stuff kind of went away, and so it looks a little better. I've got the version control under here. We've got user support. This will go out to my webpage for anything that I build, such as these videos. And then we've got some of the dongle setup here. We can update the firmware through here, or we can actually change the channel. What the hell? Yep. We can change the channel. So that's new. And that's cool because you could have 2. And there's somebody in South Korea who does, actually. Anyway, but 2 on stage for sure. Absolutely possible. Let's get into the pedal settings. So I'm basically going to flip over my pedal here. And it's nice and steady. And so now, I've organized this a bit better to where I used to have these angles on the both in the same thing, but I've separated this up into you know, your pedal controls and the pedal type and the pedal trigger, right? And so this is your toe kick, and this is the angle that you have to pass, the 60 degrees here, that you set. You know, you can set this really high if you want it safe, or you can set it low if you just want to be casual about it. I can control with angle control, and I can change the angle for the sensitivity. You know, the lower the angle, the more sensitive it is, and I keep it on pressure because it's so easy to use that way, and you'll find out. Some people like it the other way. So then you have the swing here. So you do a swing, you know, that's to get the board. You swing past this angle, and then you swing it forward, and you plant your heel down above this angle that you set, and that's going to be your summons your board, right? Your board's going to come on, and this standby here is basically going to change the speed, you know, the amount of time they have to hold it steady. So if you want a quick, I set it like this. I like it to come on right away. I know when I'm doing it, and it doesn't false trigger for me. So maybe you put this on at first. Standby is the new feature, of course. That's totally cool. You can disable all your switches, so you don't have any. You just have the off option. Center only is cool. You save to pedal. Let's go back in here, and we'll try it out. We'll do a little, and there you go. There's your rainbow effect. The reason I do this, believe it or not, is I got used to putting my foot back and forth and seeing the color change if I had multiple switches. But when you have one switch, that doesn't do anything, and you have no feedback as to whether or not it's on and off. So now you have a rainbow to tell you, hey, if you got one switch and you go back and forth, and then raise your heel to turn it off. You know, that's pretty simple that way. Okay, so back in pedal setup. I use all zones. I set it pretty wide because I'm doing some demos here. And if you notice here on my my standby, the board off. So this is how I turn the board off, the heel raise, right? I got mine set pretty high because I'm doing some moves and stuff, and I'm experimenting. But you only need to typically 40 degrees on this. Just a little heel raise is all you need. So anyway, these angles are kind of nice to set. And just remember that this is the whole outer angle versus the inner, so this should be 3 times the amount of this to be evenly spaced. Anyway, so now let's get into controller settings. And so that's the settings within this box, and these are the settings that I use for the head rush, and it's actually not the looper. This is effects. Okay, let's save that to the box, and refresh, make sure it took. Yeah. Okay, so if you remember, I was hitting the center switch, right? That's where I was pressing. And I've got it set up to do the boost plus the volume using pressure. So I'm modulating over here with volume. And there's my trigger here is 75, and I basically got that over here from the manual. And usually in the back, a few pages of almost every pedal board setup is a MIDI table of CC commands and some PC commands. So on the CC, you take this number 75 and you just drop it into here, you know, and enter it in. What you know, maybe it comes with nothing, and you enter the 75, right, and you save it to the box. Now what that actually does is it sends us. This is actually the hex that shows up. You don't need to know this, but it's kind of handy if you get into custom or any, you know, try to understand what is actually being sent. That's the truth right there. Okay, so I have it set up with head rush as momentary. We can do a toggle, or we can pulse on and off. Okay, and let's get into the you know, how you want to modulate here. Yeah, you can put in a MIDI number. Because we're not in custom, all I have to do is put in like 3, for example. Save that to box. Well, you just see the actual CC3 is going to be modulating on pressure actually. So you get the modulation icon coming up here. It was already there with the volume, but that's how you put the MIDI in for modulation. And then you can actually do, so you got expression, you can take your pick, you can do this, you can do this, and you can save all of those. And what's happening now is everything's getting modulated. All right. Internally, you got the volume and the wah and the expression and MIDI control on channel 4, which is switched on with 75. So that's crazy. I wouldn't do that. So we'll go, let's see, did I save it? Yeah, I sure did. Let's undo some of this. I had volume on there, and I'm just doing the volume here. So, okay. Now these are cool. You know, you can switch them around. You can just drag the whole thing over, and that's kind of handy. You're stuck with these colors for now. Couldn't think of a good reason to waste memory. That's so precious. So, I got something going on over here on the right with the wah, and this gets into the custom. So let's say, a neat little trick here. Let's say if I just have 3 in here. Boy, I'm getting into way too much detail, right? Let's put in 3, and then let's go into custom. So now if I go into here, we have the full string in here, and I can start editing this, right? It could be a C or some other value here for note. And go back to standard, so it's easy entry, just the CC numbers. You got mouse over now that shows the whole string in there. What I'm doing here, believe it or not, on these, I went custom on the wah because I'm controlling my lights. So it not just controls the wah in here, but I'm actually modulating. In here I'm modulating blue, and it's a cool effect. So that's what you saw in the video with the blue glow, and I convert it externally with a separate box into DMX. All right, so that's it in a nutshell. The pedal board thing is a little tricky. If you just want to switch and you don't want anything to show up on stage when you cycle through on the pad, so basically, what's showing here where these toe kicks are showing, those colors are gonna cycle through. So green's not gonna show up. And I had green set up on another one. I forget what it did. But these switches for me on the right are a little bit harder to get to because you gotta kind of wind outward with your foot. So that's why I leave this one on the default. That I leave this one on purple, so that if I do a toe kick, I'm gonna do the wah. But if I wanna, switch over to one of these, like play with the flanger live or something, I can do it live on the pad. But I've also got these switches here that I can access as a switchboard. So you can do one or the other or both, as shown here. There's all the 3 options. So a little confusing, except it's when you realize maybe you don't want all these colors up there, and responding to the toe tap. You just want a couple, and reserve some others for off to the side, kind of.